Alright guys, so we want to continue with our puppet and building the next kind of parts of our puppet. So this is where we left off with our last quest. And what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and continue building some parts of his face here. So we're going to start with the nose. So to do that, I'm going to come over here to my rectangle tool and I'm going to click and hold down on it, choose the Polygon tool, and I'm just going to draw kind of a triangle for his nose. So if I click and hold down on the Polygon tool and then I use my down arrow, I can change it to a triangle, and then if I hit shift, it kind of makes it into a perfect triangle, and I can drop it in there. And I guess I had already switched the color to orange to give him an orange nose. Maybe I'm channeling my inner child and making him kind of look like Grover here or something. But you can go ahead and do that. Put your nose in, come over here to the side, and let's go ahead and name this layer just so that we make sure everything continues to stay in alignment and everything continues to work well. So we've got our nose in there now. And the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and add our mouth in there. Now the mouth, if you remember me saying, the mouth has at least 13 different shapes that it can use based on the sounds that you're making, and it will actually try to match the shape of your mouth to the sound and the shape that the mouth makes for that sound. So that would be a lot of work to do. Well, the really great thing is that Adobe has said that we can use the mouth that was already built for this Illustrator puppet. So if you open up this Illustrator puppet that was available through the tutorial on Character Animator, we can actually just take that mouth and drag it over and use it in ours. So I'm going to select the mouth. When I click on the dot over here, or if I just was to click it here, it's also going to select all the different shapes of the mouth, and we can see that all of those are selected. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to drag this mouth. I'm going to come up to this tab, and then I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to drop that mouth in there. And you'll see then that I now have all those mouth shapes inside. They're all my new layers here as well. I can kind of click and drag on it to make it a little bit bigger, kind of make it fit how I want it to. There we go. So now we've got actually kind of the beginning workings of a puppet with a nose and a mouth and eyes and so forth. So let's save this and let's go take a look at it in Character Animator and see what we've got so far. So I'm going to come up and I'm just going to save it. After I've saved it, then I'm going to go ahead and come back over and I'm going to switch back over to Character Animator, and I open up my puppet and I label this one Puppet 3, and there he is. And I see that here's my puppet that I started, and he is following along with my mouth, and as I rotate my head and I can blink, and that puppet will follow along with me as well. Now I can come in here and I can take a look at the different pieces on this, and I can see, you know, the mouth is labeled correctly, the nose, if I want to put the nose, label the nose, I can do that as well. So those things are all labeled in there, and they're all marked correctly as well. Okay, so let's do a few more things with our puppet over here. Let's add some ears onto him. And I'm going to just kind of zoom out just a little bit, and I'm going to switch over to an ellipse tool, and I'm going to just draw some ears. Maybe something looks like about like that. I'm going to make these ears a little bit different colored though. Maybe something like that. Okay, and I'm going to call this, let's see, this would be his left ear. And I'm going to go ahead and just make a duplicate copy of it. So I click on my selection tool. I hit Alt on the keyboard, and then I can drag over another copy of it, the ear, and I'm going to put this one right there. And let's see, that's that one. So I'm going to call that right ear. Okay. But I don't want those to be above my head. I actually want them to be behind my head. So I'm going to take these, I'm just going to drag these down so that they're actually on the bottom layer. And something like that. And like that. So they kind of look more like they're behind my head. Okay. So those are my ears. I've got those in place where I want them to go. And, oh, I know, I need to add some eyebrows. So let's try a rounded rectangle for the eyebrows. And for the eyebrows, we can do something like that. That's pretty good. And I'm going to call this right eyebrow. I'll make a duplicate copy of that. Again, clicking on my selection tool, hitting Alt, dragging that over there. Let's name this one left eyebrow. And looks pretty good. Looking good over there. The other thing you can do, and if you notice on my puppet that we showed earlier, I drew some hair on him. You can make hair if you want. Obviously you don't need to, but we could add some hair to our puppet as well. So I'm gonna the way I did it, again, you can kind of choose how you want to go about it, but the way I did it, I just I chose the same color blue, and I kind of tried to make it look almost like a little bit of a part of his head. And I chose the pen tool, and I kind of just started over here, and I just kind of gave him a little spiky haircut. Something like this. The way the pen tool works, you just kind of it initially kind of looks like it's kind of funky as it's going. I also don't want to make this totally look like a crown, which maybe I did, but that's okay. Oops, too far on that one. Let's just go to here. You just kind of click with the pen tool, and it's going to not totally work until you finish it. Once you kind of finish it and put it in, then it will fill in all the spaces. So I think actually I don't want there to be an outline on around there, because then it doesn't make my hair fit in very well. So something like that gives them a little bit of a spiky haircut and works for now. I also just switched my outline, my stroke color, to the same color blue, so that kind of just fits in there like that. All right, so let's check that out now. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit save, and I'll come back to my character animator, and you'll see it's updating that. There we go. It's got that, picked that up pretty well. Updated all the pieces to it. So let me reset my pose here. And it's picking everything up pretty well. Now, when I do my eyebrows, we see it doesn't totally work yet. So let's see what we've got going on here. Let's see, I got my left eyebrow. Let me go over here and label that. Click on the right thing. There we go. Let me label my right eyebrow. Okay, that looks good. Now let's see. Now, that's kind of what I was hoping would happen. So you see how when I do my eyebrows and I get that surprise expression, it makes the puppet's whole head kind of go up like that. That's because of the way that we labeled it over here. So you'll notice on the mouth has a plus sign in front of it, and that's the labeling that they brought in from the Adobe. And oops, I didn't get my name right here. But what the plus sign does is the plus sign actually allows each of the pieces to act independently of the rest of the object. So I'm going to actually come in, I'm going to put a plus sign in front of each of my layers here so that they will have kind of a different, they'll be able to act a little bit independently. So I'm going to do that for each of these layers in here. And what that allows then for is that when you lift your eyebrows or you look to the side or whatever the case may be, it doesn't affect that on every part of it. It actually allows for the layer to act independently. So again, I'm going to save that, and what we should see then in our character animator is that now when I do my eyebrows, whoa, maybe not. Now when I do my eyebrows, they go up without stretching my whole head. Now I realized one thing over here, that the way I had my hair, and it was kind of on the top above there, it was originally up here, that the eyebrows are actually going behind the hair. So I actually I dropped those down to this layer down here, the hair, so that when I raise my eyebrows, they are going above that layer of the hair. Ultimately, it doesn't look like anything changed, but it changes the way that this interacts then, and the way that my eyebrows go up and down and so forth. So we basically have finished our face and finished the way that we will construct the face. We've got basically a working puppet at this point. The next thing that we're going to do, though, is we're going to add a body onto them and give them a little bit of some characteristics that allow us to move, can wave, and do some of those types of things as well. So that'll be for the next quest. So let's see if you can get this puppet working, and if you can build a puppet that will talk and blink and have eyebrows and so forth that move. Okay? All right, so check that out. See if you can get that done.